A show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, the Wellness Center, Medical and Behavioral Health Clinics, HOV Medical, and Digicel. Sign up for Digicel Plus Home Light Bundles, faster internet, movies, and sports. Poetry at its best. Out of Chicago, Illinois, she goes by the name K Love.
Every element is elegant, is effortless.
Eros, the Prince of Poetry.
I want to be entrenched in love, drenched in love, dipped in love.
Gracing the stage in the British Virgin Islands on the 10th of February as a Time in Time promotion presents Step to the Mic, an evening of poetry also featuring local artists including Tishani Hall and Lynette Rapsat. Open mic for the first 15 persons to sign up. Captain Mulligan's is the place to be on the 10th of February. Tickets cost $25 at the door. This event is sponsored by Nanny K Hotel, the Government of the Virgin Islands, and the Ministry of Education, Youth Affairs and Sports. This is the big story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. It's another beautiful day here in the Virgin Islands, and we continue our conversations as we go on through this new year, 2024. We have been in the past having many talks with the Chamber of Commerce. Yes, with Shayna and others, and Shayna is here again for us to have a New Year conversation to understand what is going to be happening with the Chamber this year. Shayna, Happy New Year in that capacity. Yes, the year is 1 month and change old.
Yes.
But it's the first talk we're having as the chairman of the BVI Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, and thank you, Kathy, and all the best for 2024.
All right, and yesterday we happened to have caught up at an event, something that is annual, the 16th annual wreath laying ceremony, and we had several really interesting conversations out there yesterday. It feels good to see us celebrating who we think we are, or who we know we are, I should say, in so many diverse ways. And, even though we go to these events, we end up having other conversations that matters to us as a people.
Well, everything is about community. And what we do at the Chamber of Commerce is, a part of that community, specifically the business community. But it's really great when, again, like you're saying, we can, have this type of holistic view of our communities. And it's important that as a people, we know our heritage so that we know how to move forward into our future. So Virgin Islands history is Black history. So, I think it's always important for us, even though sometimes we think of these events, though they may have started someplace else, but it is connected to us in that way.
Yeah, I've learned so much, and I particularly admire Enya. I did not know that side of Enya, and she's like so passionate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very
All right. Well, just to give you a little clip on that, so if you feel free to, you can go to our page and you can look at that ceremony. But we're here to talk chambers.
Talk business.
Real business. How are things going with the chamber since the rebrand?
Well, yes, as you mentioned, in August 2023, we officially rebranded the organization from being the BVI CCHA to BVI Chamber of Commerce. So for those who may have missed it, May 2023, the BVI Yachting, Hotel and Tourism Association was created. So that became essentially a sister organization. I know some persons were wondering how that came about, but it was something that we sat down within the CCHA and said that it's time that the tourism sector had its full representation. And, we reached out to the businesses in the industry, and they said yes, they would be willing to take that on. And they're currently, they have a board in place now, and they're going to currently push their membership drive very shortly this year.
Which means that membership drive for you also is a pivotal part, because now you have this big section of of what used to be CCHA off, and now you're specifically the Chamber of Commerce. And while you would have had a great number of membership, you now have the opportunity to expand even more without limitations.
Yeah, definitely, Kathy. And it was something where, again, that balance of trying to represent everybody and then still deal specifically with a particular sector. Sometimes persons felt that, not enough attention was given to one or the other. So what we do now as the Chamber of Commerce is essentially we look out across the entire economy. We're especially concerned about small, micro, and medium-sized businesses. So those are, our target audience for this year in terms of recruitment. Renewals have been going pretty good. So, persons, if they choose to be member of the Chamber of Commerce or the Hotel Association, it's quite fine. They can do both. And because, we look at those cross-cutting issues that regardless of what industry or sector you're going to be in, those are the things that the Chamber of Commerce will take care of through advocacy. We still are going to be offering more training, teaching you how to set up a business, how to address different issues, whether it's marketing, supply chain issues, whatever it might be. We want to be there for, all our businesses.
Okay, so what you said, you can be a member of commerce as well as tourism?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because we have that now where persons might be a member of the Marine Association, but they're also members of the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh.
You see, or the Professional Accountants Association, but they're also a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So it doesn't take anything away from us, because again, it's up to the business owners to decide, where they want to essentially participate and show their support, because they know all of us are working in their interests as it relates to having a business-friendly environment. Because again, that's probably one of the biggest challenges that we have to take on as it relates to whether it's legislations, regulations, processes in the public service. Those are the things that affect every business. So we do have instances like that where we have members that basically, they are across different associations. So that's a definitely positive thing. That's one of the reasons why too, Kathy, we've kept the membership fees low. It starts at $125 for micro businesses, which is usually one employee. So it's something where we want to keep it affordable, because again, it's something that...
And that's per year.
And that's per year. So again, this is where, it makes it affordable for you to have access to the benefits that we offer, right? We have a new platform we were really excited to launch last month, where you have a members information center where members now get a login and they can go in through our website, and they have access to free advertising, job board. They can promote promotions. They can also post sales, events upcoming, for their particular business. And all of this now is accessible through our website. So we give them an online presence even more than just a directory listing. Because I had one member actually tell me last week that, she did a Google search of her company and it actually showed up on the first page. And one of those was her website and her directory listing in the Chamber's website.
Awesome. While it is that you have quite a number of the small businesses, micro, small, and medium businesses in your grasp in terms of being a part of Chamber, I know for a fact that there are so many others who are out there, and they seem not to necessarily understand the importance of being a part of an outfit like this, and say, okay, I just got my little thing going, I can just do my little thing. I don't see what would you say to that business person, that entrepreneur, to say that you can't just do it by yourself?
Yeah, I think one of the first things, and I saw this live a few weeks ago. So what we do is whenever you sign up as a new member, one of your perks is you get a free group business coaching session. And that was facilitated by another member of the Chamber. So, it's really great in terms of we have these resources now that we can give other businesses access to help them, again, think more strategic in their business and what they want to do. And what I saw in that room in terms of, it was just an hour, the level of networking that took place. Because again, persons knew each other personally, but then they didn't know each other from a business standpoint. So they were like, oh, I didn't know you did this, or I didn't know your business did this. And they were like, we have to do more of these, because it was something where, again, you get your head down in your business and you do this, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we tend to kind of isolate. So it's always good, again, as far as being part of the chamber, that you're able to network and get access to others that you might not normally get access to, and become more aware. Because one of the key things is that marketing precedes sales, and word of mouth is king. So, if you go to, let's say, for example, we having the trade expo in May, right? So we moved it up because, again, based on feedback, persons were saying earlier in the year is better for them. So the 17th to 18th of May, actually registration is already open. So they can go on the website and actually start to register. And, you get to come in there. And again, a lot of persons came to the trade show and said they didn't know about this business. They didn't know about that business. So again, by being a member of the chamber, you're listed on the directory. So but if somebody wants to go in and look, let's say for delivery services, and they type in delivery services and you have that already in your description, you pop up. You understand? So it's something where we're kind of continuing the yellow pages, so to speak. And persons, again, would be surprised who goes in and does the searches.
Yeah.
Because if I ask you and you don't know, then I have to have another option. And that's really what the chamber offers to, especially the small businesses who can't necessarily afford the big marketing plans. They may have an ad here or there, do the Facebook and the social media.
That's exactly what I was going to come to. A lot of businesses, very small ones, don't have that social media presence or that
the capacity to do these things.
Have a website. Or some really established, other than their personal page where they throw up a flyer here, have a sale about this. It goes beyond that.
Yeah, it does. And again, that's the type of conversations that we have in terms of coaching them. So again, through meeting other business owners who may be probably in business longer than you, or even starting out like you, they're able to share, tips, trade lessons in terms of, this is how I might do shipping, or this is how I deal with a particular issue that I'm having. So that for us is the great dynamic that we love to see in terms of, really building that community within. So the member information center that I mentioned, that's something that's also, it has an app. So persons can now go on the app, again, send messages directly to each other as members. They can also, again, post the events, news releases, and the different things. And they can also register for our events. So all of the information now is like right there. So, we're not relying just on being able to communicate through emails, because you and I know, you have 100 emails coming at you daily. Sometimes it is going to get lost in the shuffle. So that's one of the things too, where we're happy that we're able to now have technology that can help us, continue to support the business community. This year is going to be our 55th anniversary, Kathy. Oh, wow. So we're actually looking for persons to sign up for the events committee so that we can really plan a great event to recognize the legacy of the chamber. The company was initially registered in August, but we're probably going to do it later on in the year. So it gives us time to kind of build up to it. But we want to also tie it into the annual Business Awards Gala. We weren't able to do that last year. So we figured with the anniversary, that would be an awesome time to, bring that back, because a lot of things were disrupted from hurricanes in 2017. So from then to the pandemic, we're still stabilizing, and we did the rebrand, and so there's a lot of things that's happening behind the scenes. But the team, between my board of directors and the staff in the office, they're doing a great job. So we're managing to keep it going.
That comeback. We're now how many years since 2017?
So we are on 7 years this year. Yeah.
Ooh, it's almost 10 years.
7 years this year. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
10 is just around the corner.
It is.
But yet we still hear from then. And then when COVID came, quite a number of businesses said, we just couldn't find our way back. They had to close their doors. We see some people change their type of business. They would have been doing X during that time. Now they shifted because they have to survive.
Yeah.
Some people even closed their doors and now are employees in other companies. How is that atmosphere looking in from your glasses?
Well, a couple things there. The hurricane recovery, I think we're still lingering in it from a business standpoint. A lot of businesses, again, by the time they were ready to go, especially the tourism sector, the pandemic came, and obviously they were one of the more severely hit or affected, because you have to serve people, and the fact that everybody's on the quarantine, or we had to basically remain in place, they were affected. But from an advocacy standpoint, from back then, we were advocating for there needs to be a program where you have what we call economic relief. So when you have these types of disruptions in the economy, that businesses can get support. This needs to be something that is already in place. We saw it in the USVI, where it was just a matter of, this is the process, this is the application, this is what happened.
So this is from the government level.
This is from the government level.
To have these supplements.
Yeah, so it would be a government program, and it would be considered where, whether it's hurricane, something like the pandemic, that these are things they can apply for. Because what happened to businesses after the hurricane is that they had to go into their savings to do their own recovery. So therefore, when the pandemic came, not enough time had elapsed for them to be able to had replenished those savings to be able to survive the pandemic. So yes, you would have seen, some businesses told you, hey, we're not going to come back right now, or, they're taking their time in terms of ramping back up. So we have heard and we have seen that happening over again the last 7 years, in terms of, whether businesses are closed or temporarily, suspended services or whatever the case is. So, but, as we say, business is not for the faint-hearted. Because it's a lot of work. And again, persons may see you out there doing well, but they don't understand that what takes place. Well. Yeah, and what takes place behind the scenes is quite a lot of effort. So that's where, again, from the organization standpoint, we're here to support, we're here to empower, we're here to equip you. So, again, keeping the lobbying fire going, saying to government, hey, let's not wait until the next disaster to put these things in place. Let's make sure that things like unemployment benefit. So it might sound strange for businesses to be saying this is a plus for us, because again, we saw how crazy it became, where businesses were trying to keep on their employees, because again, they know there's no unemployment benefit, but they can't pay them full salary because they're not having any money coming in. And then we had a situation where that was, I think, 2022, port fees were increased. So that increased the cost of business significantly, Kathy. And we spoke about that to the government and say, no, it's not a good time. We understand these are things that need to be adjusted, but we're coming out of basically a recession with the pandemic, because businesses were not making money. Globally, the supply chain was and still is disrupted because the conflicts that are happening in the Middle East is driving shipping around Africa. Much longer. So it means it's longer, more costly. The cost of oil has also been fluctuating and is trending upwards again. For those that may not be aware, there was Panama has a drought. So therefore, the traffic through the Panama Canal has been also disrupted because of the lack of water supply. So there are so many things. Again, you're a small business here in the BBI, and you order in your products or material to make products, and it's cost. You're watching the cost of it go up and up every month, and it's difficult now in terms of the decision of, can I absorb this cost or do I pass it on to my customer? And as a result of that, now, if the cost of business goes up, the cost of living goes up for everybody.
And one area that comes in, and it was what I really wanted to come to next, is that cry among especially the small and micro businesses, the proposal to raise minimum wages. That's a big thing. You have the employee on the one hand. Listen, the times are hard. We really need to, you have something more on our paycheck. But the employer himself saying, listen, I may have to end up laying off some staff and, going on the skeleton because money is not coming in. The situation is really dire. How does the chamber coach in this regard?
Well, we were invited to be a part of the committee, and one of the first things that we shared, that again, labor costs, minimum wage would be an increase in labor costs for some businesses. So that's the first thing we need to clarify. Not everybody is paying minimum wage. So once you're not at minimum wage, if the minimum wage were to increase, it wouldn't be affected.
Affecting them.
But it does, in general, increase the cost of labor because new persons coming into the labor market obviously now would have to start at the higher rate. But for us, it is all about the economic growth. What is the economic climate like right now? Because if businesses are growing, let's say, at 3-4% a year in terms of their revenue and what they're able to generate, because we have good economic policies and we're able to manage things a certain way, then you're able to say, well, okay, I can take this on right now in terms of an increase. So for us, it goes back again to Kathy, one of the things we always talk about when we're here is about statistical reports. Because again, we can't say with certainty the economy has recovered since the hurricanes, much less the pandemics. And at what rate of growth are we seeing? And if the reports say, okay, we should be experiencing 3% growth, businesses are able to say, well, hey, I'm not seeing this on my, financials. I need to dig into this. I need to look and see, are there opportunities maybe in the economy we're not capitalizing on? Do I need to look at market expansion in terms of, how do I start to market not just here in the BVI or sell goods here in the BVI, but can I offer them elsewhere, and what needs to be put in place? Because sometimes we don't think about, right here in the Eastern Caribbean, St. Kitts, Anguilla, Montserrat, they're right here. But because of our international relations situation, it makes doing trade sometimes very hard. You understand? So those are the things that would restrict us from being able to say, absolutely, businesses support, making sure people have a living wage. I think I could say that without having to do a poll. But it is something where, again, we have to look at the finances of businesses as well as the economics that we are currently doing business in and see what makes sense now and make sure, because one of the drastic things that happened over the last 3 years that everybody had to contend with is, again, once the cost of business went up globally, it hit us. And we always say there's a trickle effect. So it's almost as if it has hit us, but then there may still be more to come. So we have to, exercise caution when it comes to making policy changes that aren't well timed. Point an example, the increase of the port fees. That is something where we have to look at the entire picture and not just saying, well, we need to generate more revenue within a government department versus who's going to pay this bill and where are they going to get it from? Because it was always a question for me. Let's say, for example, during the pandemic, we were hearing that persons should send their employees home on leave. And I'm like, daily paid workers, they don't get salary. They have to work. So all the more reason why things like unemployment benefits need to be in place. And they don't need to be, if the employer isn't giving them anything and all these other hoops that were happening, but that, hey, you're paying into this system, right? And I think it's only fair when you need this system, the system should be able to support you, whether it's 3 to 6 months, whatever the case is, to give them enough time. And as we saw with the pandemic, it wasn't a 6-month situation. And for some people, they're still not working. Some businesses, they still can't find employees because persons would have migrated out because, again, they needed to go and find work elsewhere if it was possible. So, the relationship, I think, with us and government has to be one that, again, we continue to work together in terms of not just us giving input on something that's proposed, but that we're proactive with it. And that's one of the things we have an advocacy committee. So again, members can sign up for that by calling the office or sending us an email to be a part of that machinery. Because the other thing with advocacy, two persons may not be aware of, Kathy, is that we are always asked to supply nominations for different boards.
Oh.
So this is another way, again, where you become part of the advocacy machinery where, you're actually at the table, able to advocate not just for yourself, but for the business community through that. So we're always looking for nominees that are willing to serve in those capacities as representative of business interests. So again, these are the perks, so to speak. And the person's always asks us about the tangible things. And, we talked about the website opportunities, the different things or services. Again, we're offering business consultations. So especially for startups, sometimes you have a technical skill, you know what you want to do, but then the business side of things and applying for the trade license and knowing where to register and what all needs to happen, they need some advice on that. They can come into the office and we're able to do that. We're also offering our copier. So we're opening up print and copy center. Again, you need a quick copy of something or print off
For
something.
free?
As
you pay a
for
little fee?
members.
Okay, yeah.
So
free for
non-members, they will have to pay a fee, but for members,
Members, it's
that
free,
would also
okay.
be free. And we're also
Nice.
renting our meeting room.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, we have resources and we're primarily funded through member dues and fundraising events that we do. So, we're happy to, again, afford these things to our members to be able to say, hey, these, membership has its privileges. And sometimes, again, for a small business, this is a big deal, eh? So we want to make sure that we're doing our communication this year to make sure persons know that, we're here for them, we're here to support them. And it's really, they have any questions about anything. Because it may be something, let's say, for example, one member asked me the other day about group health insurance. So I was like, the CCHA did have this before NHI because, again, it was more affordable for small businesses to come together and be on a group policy. But when the NHA came in, most persons,
Because that was mandatory.
Yeah, and they decided to drop it. But because there's been so much changes with the policies and the coverage, it's, they're again small businesses that are thinking, hey, this might be something we want to. So I said to him, okay, I'll look into it. And if we have enough persons that are willing to sign up, we can probably get this started again. So, those are the things where, again, if there persons have an idea or an issue where the numbers, us coming together as a community gives it more strength, then, those are the things we love to see and facilitate and make happen.
Okay, before we wrap this up, I know the clock is on us. Over the years, this is one thing that you guys have been advocating for: stronger relationship with government, because in isolation, it would not work. The chamber needs to be in the seat with the government in order for things to work the way. You would have been through 3 administrations since the hurricanes, 3 different administrations. How has the relationship gone? Are you seeing improvement over those 3 administrations in terms of the collaboration with the chambers?
I would say the collaboration has always been there. What we want to see, though, is more continuity. So, we can't do anything about elections every 4 years. Administrations will change. But what we want to see is that with every administration, the ease of doing business is a priority.
Are you seeing that?
I think for the most part, but what we need, we're hearing that there are plans. It is for us now to see the realization of these plans. So for example, we've been hearing about reviving or revitalizing the National Business Bureau. Again, this is something that is a big need, a great need for small businesses for it to happen. For years, we've heard about digitization of the public services, again, to save time and money, rather than having to be in offices, every month or every week, trying to get services done, that we're able to have, the convenience and the quick access to what it is we need. So we want to see these things actually realized because, for businesses, for everybody, because even the public service, time is money. So if we can get licenses approved, in days and not months, or weeks and not months, that would be definitely a step in the right direction. Another key thing that we're advocating for, at the end of the year, persons had went in to renew their liquor license.
Oh, I'm hearing that.
And it was quite a storm because apparently there were some changes in the process or the policy that weren't communicated until persons actually got there. So, they had to run around and get, certificates for this. They had to go get additional money because, prices may have changed. And, I say all the time that it's important that we don't just release information, but we make sure it's communicated, meaning that the intended recipient actually gets it. So that, again, I can come in to renew my liquor license prepared, and ready to go. So even that, we're encouraging, government to send us information like that, so that we're able to communicate to the members and try to get it across to as many people as possible to say, hey guys, are you aware? But even that, we have to query what's happening with the Liquor License Commission, I think is what it's supposed to be called, or board. So we vetted legislation maybe 3 years ago now to move it out of the magistrate's court to having a board set up. You would have a 1-year license that would be done. The board would be responsible for reviewing the applications and all of that stuff. So yeah, stuff like that's taking too long, Kathy. So these are the things where we're kind of like, again, while your head is down in the business, we're kind of like, hey, what's happening with this? What's happening to that? Because again, we were privy to the legislation, the gaming commission. All of those are legislations that came into us. The trade commission, e-commerce. One good thing I wanna give kudos for though is that the deposit insurance corporations, persons may not be aware that we now have essentially, we're supposed to have insurance, or the banks are supposed to have insurance on the deposits. So this is the equivalent of the FDIC. So if a bank were to get in trouble, essentially you're insured up to, I think it's 150,000 for individual and more for joint. So again, for when we think about, we sometimes think that the risk is in there, but hey, in the world we live in these days, we don't know. Anything is possible. Yeah, anything is possible. So I was happy to hear recently that the board for that has been set up. So it's something that they're currently working to get the regulations and everything in place, and it's properly set up, I would say. And I guess from there they'll make an announcement once we know that everything is in place as far as it goes.
Awesome.
Right?
Great. Interesting conversation as we wrap up now. I know I'm going to see the signal very shortly.
But there's
just
two
to
things.
Wrap up the events.
Oh, yes, upcoming events. But one thing I want to make sure I touch on before we go, we've had a conversation with the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports, and because, we saw that they brought back their Youth Expo, and we definitely want, again, to start to encourage young people in business from as early as possible. So we are looking into offering a youth membership, a young entrepreneurship membership, because right now as it stands, to be a member is 18 or older.
Okay.
So we're gonna look at, how can we again support our young people in getting their business going, because all of this is what contributes to economic growth, Kathy. Because if one person starts a business, then it grows and they employ 5 people, and then it keeps going and going. You get the drill. So that's how economic growth comes about, startups as well as expansion. So we want to just give a little heads up. That's coming.
Yes.
And workforce development also is something that we're very keen on. We had a conversation with the college the other day about the internship program that they're doing as part of their workforce development center, where they want businesses to offer internships to the students in those programs. So we're going to help to be facilitating. So upcoming events, annual general meeting. So we're actually coming up for election for a new board. So some of the board members are going to be retiring. So persons will be hearing us speak more about, asking persons to nominate members to be part of the new board, probably this month or next month. The Spring Regatta.
Okay.
It's back. Last year we celebrated its 50th run. That would be the first week of April. And again, this is always in collaboration with the Royal BVI Yacht Club. The BVI Trade Expo mentioned that, so that's going to be in May, and the gala is going to be later on in this year. So those are the main things right now.
Okay.
We're hoping to have, again, we're having some conversations with some other community partners about the training. So one of the ideas I had, and I'm still waiting on my team's feedback, is to have a business boot camp. Where it kind of like runs you through, again, what are those basics when it comes to building a business, so to speak, right? And giving you whatever you're experienced in business, just starting out, have an idea, this would be where the starting point would be. So we're hoping, again, to be able to put that out there. And again, as we get feedback, we have so many diverse skill sets within the chamber membership. we can always put on more specific things as persons need.
Awesome. I think this is great. I'm happy to see the new brand is bringing so much more.
Yes. Value
to the
for
field.
membership, Kathy.
Yes.
That's our mantra.
Yes.
Value for membership.
I can see this getting better as you go
That's
on.
the hope.
You know?
From strength to strength.
Yeah, and I love the addition, the thought of putting together that for
young people, yes.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a lot more about that because some
I will.
ideas just popped in my
From
head.
ahead.
Yeah, so we could together do that.
And I would be remiss. So we're going regionally too. So we recently piloted a program with the Anguilla Chamber of Commerce, where they reached out to us and were asking if it'd be possible to create basically virtual networking between businesses there and here. So we did that, I believe it was like October or so. So the boards now in both chambers has approved that we are going to go live with this month. So again, more information coming. So Kathy, we have been busy.
All right, stay busy. We don't want your hands to be idle.
No, so this is one of the ways where again we talk about market expansion. I mean, that's a really daunting thought to think about. Hey, how do I start a business in Anguilla? But the fact that we are members of the Caribbean Chambers of Commerce means that we have access to all the chambers of commerce across the Caribbean. So if someone, again, is thinking about market expansion and they want to get guidance on that, they could come in. We could help make those connections for them and, go from there. I mean, when we really get moving, probably for next year, but we will have to start the planning this year, do business missions. And make those something that's regularly done where, whether it's a particular industry, again, we connect with another chamber elsewhere and go and explore and see, hey, what's possible.
Awesome.
Right.
All right. Thank you for coming by and sharing. We're looking forward to more conversations. I know there are other platforms that we will sit with Shayna. But until that time, I wish the Chamber of Commerce every success and the businesses. I pray that they continue to take advantage of what are to be derived from being a member. And
just to make sure we let them know, check out our website, bvichamber.org, email info@bvichamber.org, and our number is 345-3513. Right? And you can send us a WhatsApp actually on that number as well. So we're plugged in. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your time with us on this set. And until we sit here again, whether it be Shayna or another guest, I want to encourage you to be good to yourself and to others. I'm Kathy Richards with A Big Story. Thank you for joining us.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.
Everyone looks to the future, but no one truly knows what the future holds.
The number of people under the age of 20 with type 2 diabetes could increase by 49% by 2050. Let it be known that we all have a 30% chance of developing hypertension.
Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
More than 60,000 young adults aged 20 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Obesity leads to problems such as stroke, heart disease, and kidney failure.
No matter your race, age, or color, we are all at risk.
These diseases can be managed or prevented if caught early.
But with the right medicine and the right doctors to keep us on a path to live a robust and healthy life,
we will live well.